So if you are here and you're watching this video, you are probably here for one of two reasons. One, you have a book in mind that you feel called to write. People might be saying to you, oh, you need to write a book about this. You might have heard that over and over again, and you might be thinking, I guess I should write a book about this. But you don't know where to start or where to turn or what the next steps are. Or you've already written that book. You might have written that book this week and finished it. You might have written that book 5 years ago and it's on your shelf and you don't know what to do with it or how to get it out into the world. So what I wanted to do is create this video where we are looking at the question that I get asked the most, which is, how do we get this book into the world? And there's three basic publishing paths. There's lots of nuances of ways that you can weave in different ones together, but there's three primary paths: traditional publishing, hybrid or independent publishing, and self-publishing. So we're going to go through all of those together. So let's start with traditional publishing, right? For years and years, this was the way it was, right? You had to find a publisher. You needed to submit your manuscripts. You might have had to have an agent. It was a highly selective process. In some cases, you might have received a in advance of writing the book, and it's a long process. So definitely more than a year or 2 years to get this book out into the world. Your part, really, the publisher is taking a risk on you as an author. And so they need to see that return on investment first. And so they will, your royalties are going to be lower than if you were self-publishing or working with a hybrid publisher, which makes sense because the traditional publisher needs to get that return on investment. And you do benefit because you have the backing of this traditional publisher, which, you know, feels good. It's going to feel good for you. And also be able to reach a very large scale of people that way. So that is traditional publishing. Hybrid or independent publishing is something that has really grown out of the, it existed before this, but since the print on demand that is so easily available now, where you don't have to print 100 to, you know, I'm like thousands of books, literally. That's the way it used to have to be with hybrid and independent publishers. And so sometimes authors will get stuck with a lot of materials. So that's not the case anymore. You can literally print on demand one book. You can actually publish a book and not have this huge upfront cost of a book yourself with the printing and all of that if you're working either self-publishing or in a hybrid or independent publisher. So let me talk about self-publishing, and then I'll come back a little bit to hybrid and independent publishing. So authors now have this ability to self-publish their work. There's multiple different platforms. The easiest by far is Kindle Direct Publishing, that is through Amazon, and you can upload a book for paperback and ebook completely for free. There are instructions on the site for you to do that. You don't have to pay anything, and you can get the book up there. It's a little complicated to follow the instructions, but that's how I published my first book. And you can go through and you can, you know, get it out into the world and become a published author in that way. Okay. So hybrid and independent publishing has existed for a while, but in the past, you could get stuck with a whole bunch of books that you weren't able to churn out, right? I've heard people coming to me with that conundrum. There's still companies that are publishing in that way and making people print a lot of materials, and there might be reasons for that, but it's also unnecessary to have that happen to you. So with a hybrid or independent publisher, basically the client is coming to us. So this is what Greenheart Living Press is. the client comes to us and they want some of the help of the traditional publisher. They want that expertise in editing or cover design or getting the book out into the marketplace, achieving that bestseller status on Amazon that helps elevate the book so that more people see it outside of our sphere of family and friends that want to support us. Getting that bestseller status elevates really and expands our reach. And so people come to us for that reason. They want to have control over their book. They want to know when it's coming out. They want to have editorial authority. They want to be able to look at it and say, yes, this is what I want out into the world, which some traditional publishers won't provide. We do certainly at My Press, and I know other publishers do this as well that are in this independent hybrid arena, that we do have criteria that we will only publish certain things, right? So we are careful about what things we put our name on, and we want to represent our clients really well. We want them to be showcased out into the world, and in a good way, in a positive light. So we take very good care of the manuscript, making sure that it's reflective of us and the authors that we're publishing. You get, depending on the way your royalty structure is, you can, as the author working with an independent publisher, it's a much better royalty return for you because you're paying the independent publisher to upfront so that the costs are of the publisher that it takes to get the book out are being met by the author. And because of that, then we are able, as publishers, able to share either a much greater share of the royalties with the author, or perhaps in some circumstances, all the royalties with the author, all right? So you are also, whether you're an independent publisher or a self-publisher, the amount of money you're able to make on books is much greater than if you were working with a traditional publisher per book. So if, say, the printing cost of a book might cost $5, okay, for you to print, if you're able to sell that for $20, then you're able to make that $15 on each book, which is completely unheard of if you were working with a traditional publisher. Downfalls of working with an independent or hybrid publisher, yes, you might have yes, you might be able to get the book out into different places. It's possible to get it in Barnes and Noble and bookstores and all of that, but you might not have the huge reach of a traditional publisher. Self-publishing, the downfalls are the book might not be seen. I've seen a lot of books where people self-publish and do it on their own, and they don't have any reviews. They haven't really sold many copies of the book. And so it's just kind of there. And I always just want to like give the book a hug when I see it on Amazon. It's up there, but it's not reaching the people that it could. So those are the very basics of traditional publishing, hybrid and independent publishing, and then self-publishing. Sometimes what we do is, even though we are an independent publisher, sometimes people want to self-publish, but they just don't want it to be so hard, and they want us to help them through the process. So sometimes we help people with self-publishing too, but then our name's not like officially, it's not a Greenheart Living Press book, but we can set it up for them so that it's looks more professional in that way. They're getting all the royalties themselves, and they feel the process is a little less painful. Time-wise, when we publish books, I mean, I've done crazy things and published books in very short amount of time. The shortest we've ever done was, I think, 6 weeks, and that was just madness. But when you are self-publishing or working with a hybrid publisher, you do have more more flexibility in the time, and you might be able to get it done pretty quickly. At our press right now, we're looking at generally 3 to 6 months to get a book out from when the contract starts and we're when it's scheduled and taking off. If a book is already written and complete, sometimes when people come to us and they are starting the process, we don't really know how long it will take for them to write the book. So we can make a guesstimate on the entire process, how long that would take, and that varies for every person. So those are the top 3 ways of publishing. And please reach out to us if you are interested in having a conversation. If you'd like to apply to be published by Greenheart Living Press, you can do that as well. And we'd love to have you come join our Writers Hive Mastermind. We have monthly calls with other authors that share and their wisdom about, and we talk about things that are like opportunities coming up, as well as conundrums of things with marketing, publishing, and writing that we all share, and we help each other out. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.